Straight ahead on 12 News, empty but not forgotten.
It's really sad to see really prime property like that sitting idle.
What's next for the former Brookdale Square shopping site in Brooklyn Center? Then sweet sounds in Crystal.
Here's the pitch.
Seniors get served a treat of Twins broadcasting history. But first, grade shift approved. How students in the Osseo School District will be on the move. 12 News starts right now. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Johnson.
And I'm Shannon Slatton. After months of discussion, the Osseo School District will move forward with a grade reconfiguration plan.
The changes will go into effect in the fall of 2015. And Cassie Bonstrom joins us now with more on what this means for students. Cassie?
Well, Mike, the school board voted 5-1 last night in favor of the plan, which would move the 6th graders to the junior high and move the 9th graders to the high school. It's the decision the board says they did not take lightly, but it is one that will provide better educational opportunities for all students. The conversation kicked into high gear when the Minnesota legislature decided last year to fund all-day kindergarten. The Osseo School District wondered where would they find the classroom space to fit the kids. The school board considered their options.
One of them would have been to add on to all of our sites.
That would have forced the district to realign school boundary lines, which parents strongly opposed. The other option was grade reconfiguration, which was much more well received. That plan was finally approved at Tuesday night's school board meeting.
All those in favor, please say aye.
The reconfiguration plan will make elementary schools kindergarten through 5th grade. 6th graders will move to junior high, and 9th graders will move to the high school. The plan goes into effect in the fall of 2015.
I do not make this recommendation lightly, as I am committing our organization to transformational change.
This is in our best interest for the long run.
The grade reconfiguration will align better with other districts in the state, says School Board Chair Teresa Lunt.
We are only one of 7 districts in the state that currently have a high school junior high model.
It will also allow junior high students to take accelerated classes sooner. 9th graders at the high school will have better access to elective classes and athletics. Of course, the plan doesn't come without a price tag. To accommodate the influx of freshmen, all 3 high schools in the district will need to be expanded. That'll cost about $13.5 million to be funded by a lease levy.
It's going to cost us money to do this, and we realize that. I would not be so confident in my decision to move forward with this if I did not feel that the benefits outweighed the challenges.
Now, one school board member voted against the plan. Dean Henke said he is concerned about staffing under the reconfiguration plan and the process in which teachers would be transferred to the new schools. And Mike and Shannon, because of those concerns, he said he could not support this recommendation.
All-day kindergarten starts this year.
This fall, yep, it's funded by the legislature this fall. They will make do for a year and then make the changes to the grades in 2015.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
There's a new development in the Anoka-Hennepin School District teacher contract talks. School board members will join district negotiators and a state mediator for a new round of talks with the teachers union. That meeting is scheduled for March 27th. A district spokesperson says board members are not usually directly involved in negotiations, but rather a spokesperson speaks on their behalf. The district's 3,000 teachers have been working without a contract for about 10 months. Anoka-Hennepin teachers plan to vote April 17th on whether to go on strike.
At the state capitol, it looks like the Minnesota Senate will miss Wednesday's deadline imposed by Governor Dayton to pass a tax bill. The full Senate is expected to vote on the bill Thursday. Dayton wanted it passed today so the state revenue department and software vendors could make changes and help Minnesotans who file after April 1st to claim new tax breaks. Those who filed already would need to file amended returns to claim the relief. The tax bill is already passed in the House. It includes relief for married couples, low-income families, and college students with loan debt. And there's another strike against a bill to legalize medical marijuana in Minnesota. The Minnesota Medical Association is now coming out against it. State physicians say they want more clinical research before they could support legalization. Law enforcement groups also remain opposed to passing a medical marijuana bill.
When you see trains travel through the Northwest Metro, chances are they include tanker cars carrying thousands of gallons of crude oil from North Dakota. Now, suburban fire departments are supporting legislation to improve their ability to respond in case of an accident. It was this fire in a tanker train in Castleton, North Dakota in December that sparked concern about local firefighters' ability to respond. Much of North Dakota's crude oil is transported by rail. About half a dozen oil trains a day make their way through Twin Cities suburbs. At a hearing today, supporters say it's not a matter of if, but when there will be an accident. And they're pushing for money for training and specialized equipment for local fire departments.
With just one hazardous material response team and 11, I believe it's 11 chemical assessment teams throughout the state, we're woefully short in terms of being able to respond in a timely manner to the type of incident that we saw in Castleton.
The legislation calls for $5 million a year to come from a fee on railroads and pipeline companies. Another $2.5 million would come from the state treasury to start up a grant program. Empty big box retail stores known to some people as ghost boxes dot the landscape in Brooklyn Center.
When Kohl's closed 2 weeks ago and relocated in Plymouth, that created yet another retail vacancy in the city. But as Delane Cleveland reports, city officials have made a nearly $4 million investment to redevelop one noticeably vacant stretch of retail space.
It was a great business environment, at one point in time.
Situated along Shingle Creek Parkway in Brooklyn Center sits nearly 186,000 square feet of empty retail space and memories of days gone by.
That whole area was very vibrant.
Today, Pep Boys is the only major tenant at the Brookdale Square shopping center, but it didn't always used to be that way. Back in its heyday, Brookdale Square was anchored by tenants such as Children's Palace and Circuit City. Today, the place is a virtual ghost town, but the city of Brooklyn Center hopes to change that.
It's really sad to see really prime property like that sitting idle.
Brooklyn Center Mayor Tim Wilson says the city closed on a deal to buy the property back in January for just under $4 million.
You get to the point where, okay, should we do it? Should we market it? Should we start taking those steps or wait for private to come in and do that? And we just took the tack, we're not going to wait. We'll just see if we can spur redevelopment now.
Since the acquisition, the city has hired a firm to determine what the best options are to transform Brookdale Square from a blighted property to a thriving center of activity.
We've looked at livable communities, higher scale apartment complexes, businesses that you can walk to.
Wilson says the goal is to spur redevelopment in the same way they did when Brookdale was torn down to make way for Shingle Creek Crossing.
At some point in time, we hope to get back to when Brookdale and Brookdale Square were both vibrant and moving.
In Brooklyn Center, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
Mayor Wilson says the study on what to possibly do with Brookdale Square will go on for another couple of months. Meanwhile, he expects demolition on the property to begin this summer. Coming up, it's one of the hardest decisions to make, whether or not to start your own business.
12 News Money Savers looks at the challenges and offers some ways to overcome them. Then later in sports, Park Center's girls basketball team overcomes a slow start before pouring it on in the opening round of the state tournament.
But first, spring officially arrives on Thursday, and you know what? The forecast won't be so bad. Check it out.
A new report says more than 10 million Americans are self-employed.
Doing what you love may be fun, but will it pay the bills? Today in Money Savers, we talk about how to make sure going into business for yourself is the right financial step for you.
We really felt like there was a need for a store like this here in Maple Grove.
Donna Ronstadt opened the doors of the Mainstream Boutique 2 years ago.
I've always worked for someone else, and it's been real fun being a part of a mother-daughter team with my daughter Gina.
She and her daughter Gina are passionate about selling here what you won't find anywhere else.
When it's gone, it's gone. So you can be pretty confident that the person that you're working next to is not going to be wearing the same outfit that you are.
Owning her own business hasn't been without challenges.
We've had good times and bad times.
They've expanded social media efforts and put in extra time to make this store a destination in the Grove Shopping Center.
Definitely more time consuming than I would have imagined, but it's very rewarding. You get out of it what you put into it.
Knowing when it's the right time to go into business for yourself is a hard decision to make.
I don't know that there's a perfect answer.
Financial advisor Nicole Mindorf often talks to people about owning their own business.
The biggest piece of advice I tell people is keep that full-time job as long as you possibly can.
keep the steady income coming in and work that business part-time on the side.
Then surround yourself with experts.
Most of the time I find that people that go into business generally are great business owners, not necessarily the CFO. And that's where it's really important to have a good financial advisor and a good CPA and a good attorney to really give you the advice that you need.
Carefully evaluate your products so you're getting the best price.
Doing what you love is the important thing, but making sure that you're making some money at it.
And finally, if you do decide to go into business for yourself, make sure it's something you enjoy.
I really don't think we work too much. We're having so much fun all the time.
The numbers show more people are going into business for themselves, but only part-time. A new survey says 20% of American workers picked up a second job in 2013, or they plan to do so in 2014. So a little bit of risk and a little bit of reward there.
Kind of scary. Keep the day
Very
job for
scary.
a while. Yeah.
That's what they say. Coming up, we're reminiscing in Crystal about Twins baseball history.
But first in sports, the Maranatha Christian Academy girls basketball team gets set for another state tournament appearance. John Jacobson has that when we come back. So far, so good for Park Center. They're downtown and at the state tournament, and they're doing well.
Pick up a win, and they move on to the semifinals on Thursday. Tournament jitters have certainly spelled trouble for many teams at the state basketball tournaments. The Park Center girls, seeded number 1 in Class 3A, are hoping to overcome that in their first state tournament game ever against Simley. Simley gets off to a good start. Abby Kine nails a 3 from the top of the key to open the scoring. Kayla McMorris drives and scores with the left hand in transitions. The Pirates go up by 1. It's a solid first half for the Spartans, though. Kine to Mayo DeLeo on the give and go, and Simley leads 15-12. Michaela Hayes has a strong game for PC. She gets the hoop plus a foul here and scores 16 points total. McKenna Dubois pops a 3 to give Park Center some momentum just before halftime, but they trail at the break 30-26. Second half, McMorris steals the pass, gets it to Dubois. She'll back it out on the break and then surprises the defense here by popping in a 3. Put Park Center ahead 34-33, 13 points in the game for Dubois. McMorris heats up after a cold first half. She nails a jumper at the high post on the way to a 24-point performance. Park Center succeeds in running more after halftime. McMorris finishing with a layup. Camille McCoy hits a pair of clutch baskets off the bench as Park Center tries to pull away. Hayes will get a putback later as the Pirates wear down the Spartans in the second half, and they pull away for a 68-53 win.
I would just say we started playing more as a team second half and doing the little things like boxing out, getting loose balls, and hustling, and that really just carried over and that upped the tempo for us.
Well, I think we were able to pick up the tempo, obviously. It was too slow in the first half, and that was my fault. It was a bad game plan. We threw that out the window early, but when we were able to pick up the tempo and get it going after them, then they weren't able to keep up with us then, and the defensive pressure made it tough on their guards.
The Pirates now face 4-seed Washburn in the semifinals. The Millers beat Monticello 62-53 in the quarterfinals. That's Thursday at noon at Williams Arena. We'll have highlights from that game Thursday starting at 4 here on 12 News. The Maranatha girls basketball team is playing in its 5th straight state Class A tournament this week and aiming for a 3rd title. Here's Jason Malillo with more on the Mustangs.
5 straight section titles and 2 state titles qualifies Maranatha as a perennial power in girls basketball, but this team knows all too well that success like that can also lead to complacency, as it did for the Mustangs in last year's state tournament, a first-round loss to Ada Borup.
We really need to stay focused. Last year, we kind of went into it thinking like, we got this, and then we got there and it was like, we didn't focus enough, and this year we're just really like trying to stay focused and win it and play hard all the way through.
This season, MCA has taken nothing for granted and is striving to play its best basketball right now.
I think if one thing that our team could take us down any year, it'd be that, our complacency. I think that the reason our team is so well on the basketball court is because we mentally have to be strong because of this. We can't just come in thinking we're going to win a game because of who we are.
First-year head coach Chris Bierman hasn't changed a lot as far as X's and O's, but has challenged the girls to communicate better.
That was a big focus for us. It was a very strong program, and our kids were just looking for that next step. And on the court, we had to have the ability to talk to each other. So on and off the court, we've taken some time to develop those communication skills, and it has paid off, especially in our section final.
The Mustangs have also played a challenging schedule this winter, matching up against big school powers like De La Salle and Hopkins. Games like that tested MCA's mettle and hopefully will help prepare the girls for state. Jason Malillo, 12 Sports.
The Mustangs play their quarterfinal game at 3 o'clock Thursday afternoon at Mariucci Arena against Mankato Loyola. The Crusaders are 27-2 on the season. That's a look at sports for today.
So a good matchup there.
Yeah, it is. Mankato Loyola, a pretty good team.
All right. Thanks, John. Still ahead, hot summer nights and your radio turned to the Twins.
We remember some of the team's biggest broadcasting legends when we come back.
And here's a look ahead to Thursday's 12 News. Osseo High School, start your engines. See what sets the school apart when it comes to auto repair. Plus, we make the trek to Maranatha Academy to meet a standout student who's on a special hiking mission. And in sports, highlights from Park Center's girls basketball team's state semifinal game with Minneapolis Washburn. Those stories and more coming up on Thursday at 4. And finally, a story that may make you say, holy cow.
Baseball fans in Crystal enjoyed the day, reliving Twins history, including 1965, when Harmon Killebrew and the Twins won the American League pennant. Twins scorekeeper Stu Thornley offered up the nostalgia by playing clips of the team's iconic broadcasters. And you may know the names: Ray Scott, the Twins' lead television and radio announcer from 1961 to 66, Herb Carneal, of course, the voice of the Twins for nearly 40 years, and Halsey Hall, who originated the holy cow home run call long before Harry Carey did.
I know I'm just an old fuddy-duddy, probably like the rest of us, saying, boy, the way the kids do things today, I don't like it, and I don't. So it's great to go back and listen to that and remember, and just not only be thinking about how much more you enjoyed that style of everything, but just the thing about the good times for me, it was going out to the ball game with my dad and going out to Met Stadium and the excitement of that.
Thornley's presentation was part of the Donut Make You Wonder series at the Crystal Community Center today. And, you know, of course, in 1965, the Twins lost in the World Series 4-3. Folks like Sandy Koufax, Don Drysdale, and the LA Dodgers. We remember his last game.
My dad was at that game.
It was a heartbreaker.
Yeah, it was. Well, 2-0.
That's all the time we have for now. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Community Corner is coming up.